What up, Don Mafia? Welcome to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report. Guys, you did read the title correctly. That is a fact. And we are going to be dissecting who out of the Bills is going to have a breakout season. Now, we understand that there's a lot of players who are certified stars within the NFL already on the Bills. Who were to think that certified star and the Buffalo Bills would ever be in the same sentence. But hey, listen, I am adjusting as well. But I want to have a conversation about who are the players to watch out for to really have that breakout season. As many of you know, I do have a Patreon. This is sort of for my fans that want to go the extra mile to support the channel. And I just so happen to have 3 of our $20 tier members joining me for this conversation. So say that you ever want to come on the Don Mafia show, then what you do is you just check out my Patreon and get on that specific tier. If not, it's completely fine. You know the best way to support this channel is simply just by smashing the out of that like button. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's dive right in. Yo, Don Mafia. As promised, I have brought on 2 very proud members of the Don Mafia to sort of tackle this conversation with us today. What Buffalo Bills player is going to have an absolute breakout season? I have my homies Haif and Anthony online with me today. Starting off with you, Haif, why don't you go on ahead and introduce yourself right to the Don Mafia and tell us a little something about yourself.
Hello, my name is Devin. So I'm actually almost 20 years old now. I currently live in Saudi Arabia, and I'm also a Saudi Arabian citizen. And I just love the Buffalo Bills. I love the Buffalo Bills. I lived in Buffalo for around 6 years, and when I lived there, you can't. When you live in Buffalo, you can't stop being a Buffalo Bill fan. That's it. You can't
And,
stop.
and so, yeah, dude, like that's absolute facts. And Don Mafia, don't let Haif be humble on you. He told me before we started recording that dude was in his second year in medical school and you're 20. You didn't tell me that you were 20 years old and your
Yeah,
second year in
yeah,
medical school. Dude, impressive.
yeah.
Impressive. Like
Thank you.
that's like the second coolest thing about you. Number 1 being the fact that it's currently 2 a.m. in Saudi Arabia and you are a Bills fan, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah,
Yeah, crazy. Thank you
thank
so
you,
much for
thank
joining
you.
us, dude. Mr. Anthony, and why don't you take it away, sir?
That's hard to follow up, but I'm Anthony, and my last name's actually Jaime because I'm Hispanic. But
Yeah.
um, anyways, I'm 18 and I live in Michigan, like the west side of Michigan. And the reason I'm a Bills fan is because my mom grew up in Rochester, New York,
Okay.
and her family is all Buffalo Bills fans. So
Got it. Nice, dude. Nice. Well, you know what? It's definitely always good to root for the Bills. And honestly, it must have been super difficult for you, especially like probably being the only Buffalo Bills fan living in Michigan at that time, right?
that's very true.
That's very true. Well, you know what, dude? Listen, your long dedication to our long-suffering team is finally
Yeah.
going to pay off. That's if there is a season. Let's cross our fingers. There's going
Yeah,
to
I
be.
know.
That would be like the biggest Bills move on the face of the planet. Like we finally have like a damn contender team, and then boom, season's canceled. Sorry,
Yeah, that would
that,
suck.
that would be fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys. So we've been sort of flirting around with this conversation, right? Like there's a lot of hype around this team right now, a lot of hype, and we really want to understand like who is going to be the player to watch out for, who's going to be like that big so the impact player, who's going to be the guy that's really going to stand out this season and make it happen. Hey, would love to start off with you and
Yeah.
would love to hear sort of who you think your biggest impact player is going to be and why.
So I think it'll be Devin Singletary this season. I think Devin Singletary will have a breakout year, breakout numbers, and just because I think Josh Allen will have less rushing yards this season. I think Brian Dable will let him slow down. We need him to start playing smarter. We need him to start playing smarter because we just need him to be our franchise QB. Because when like Cam Newton, he didn't last long. Didn't last long because how crazy he was and how much rushing yards he got and how much times he just ran, and how many hits he got, I think it's hard. I think that Sean McDermott, I think Sean and Brian Dayball and Brandon Bean are gonna start being more careful about that. Exactly because Brandon Bean and Sean McDermott were on that Carolina Panthers team. They might pass more. Josh Allen, maybe because he had like 500 rushing yards this season, I think he might be at like 200, 250.
Yeah, like that's actually a very intriguing take right there, Not sure about you guys, but I was absolutely hyped about the Zach Moss pick. And
Yeah.
really just to add on to your take right then and there, I think the reason that I can see why you see that Singletary is about to break out is the fact that we have that bruiser third down goal line back in the backfield right now. And I'm not talking about a 74-year-old Frank Gore. Like, I'm
Yeah.
talking a fresh Zach Moss that's ready to go.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, when it comes down to Devin Singletary, it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not that the Buffalo Bills still maintain that run the damn ball mentality. And y'all know that I love that run the damn ball mentality. I will scream
Run the
that from the
damn
rooftops.
ball.
I could care less if we had Hopkins, Diggs, sort of Devontae Adams, like on our roster. I would still be a huge advocate of running the damn ball. So, I mean, that's super intriguing. Now, before I get to Anthony's pick, so Anthony, I do want to hear this take. Sorry if this is a curveball. I'm sure that you didn't prepare for this, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's have some
I'm
fun.
prepared either way, so.
Yo, dude, my man. By the way, guys, he just graduated from a car. He just graduated from a car, dude. 2020, wild ass year. So yeah, dude. So what do you think, before I hear your impact player, who do you like, what's the Bills offense identity? Would you say it's still run the damn ball, or would you say it's going to, sort of be more of like an air attack? Like, what's the percentage of the air attack and what's the percentage you would say for sort of running?
Okay, well, I think when we all like envisioned Josh Allen on this team, we all imagined just chucking it and having like 2 plays per drive, just quick plays, almost like the Chiefs. But I think watching the last couple of years, like you said, running the balls like became like, I don't know, and you always had these statistics that when we ran more, we won more. And yeah, facts. So it's hard because, and I was looking over some highlights of games in the last couple of years, and it's like some games were just throwing it a lot more than others, and I don't know. So I think what I would say would be, I would want 55% running, 45% passing.
Beautiful. Took the words right out of my damn mouth. Took the words. And hey, right before we end up moving on to Anthony's pick, what would you like to see from the Bills? More of a like favoritism toward the air attack, or do you still want to see like a run focused offense?
We need, I think, mixture of both.
Okay.
Mixture of both. We need to establish play action, high tempo games. That's it. So when we establish play action, then we'll start to run the damn ball or throw. I think we need the play action. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
that's
dude, for
what.
sure. Like looking back in 2019, especially when it came to Bills games, like the team that established play action first was the team that ended up coming out on top.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful, beautiful take. So Devin Singletary, he's on the list for the breakout player of the 2020 season. Now, Anthony, I would really like to hear your take on who you think that Bills fans need to be watching out for. Some player that's just going to be wiping the wall with the opposition.
Well, it was a lot of thought, but also it wasn't, because I was driving back after my graduation, frantically trying to think of somebody that I thought would be the best for this. But I went with the back of my head, your little voice talking about how John Brown's going to improve this year.
Yes.
and how Stefon Diggs, well, he's going to be great, or hopefully, or fingers crossed, he's going to do as much as he can. And I think that a lot of that pressure is going to be put on Stefon Diggs and off of John Brown. Because I remember watching these games where we were throwing it to John Brown a lot of times, but he just was like slammed with coverage and he couldn't make too many moves. And I think with alleviated pressure, he'll be able to like practice like a lot more skills because he was always trying to prove himself as a route runner rather than just like a jet go guy kind of guy. So I'm hoping that we'll see a big improvement as soon as there's way less pressure on him as the number one. And if he's like a number two, then it'd be like a kick butt number two.
And so, yeah, honestly, dude, like that's like an absolute beautiful take because like you said, like I've said this before, like these first couple of weeks, like defenses are going to be double, maybe even triple teaming Stefon Diggs. And that mentality would probably work, say that, Stefon Diggs was the only good receiver that we have. But I mean, we have a John Brown who was our number one last year. Like some Bills fans like blew my fucking mind. Some guy was suggesting that we try to trade John Brown. And legitimately was just like, bro, why the hell would you trade our 2019 number one receiver? Like completely dumb. And then once you think about it this way as well, Brown's going to be lined up against CB2s next year.
Yeah.
Like last year, John Brown had an over 1,000-yard season. Mm-hmm. And he was going up against, some of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Yeah.
And he was beating them. Like Stephon Gilmore, like I wish that I could like print out like a life-size picture of him burning Stephon Gilmore. I really do.
I just saw that highlight on Instagram today.
Yeah.
And it was on
I
forgot what Instagram it was on, but it gave us joy. Down? Yes.
Check down, yeah, most definitely.
That was amazing.
Yeah, dude. Like sometimes, like say that I'm feeling down, like some days, like I just watch that clip, like over and over and over again. Like that's just my thing. All right, so interesting. So since we are on the wide receiver topic, before I sort of give my take and stuff like this on which player that I think is going to have a breakout season, since we're on the wide receiver room here, right? All right, so 53-man roster, and then some people say, oh, no, it's 55, but technically it's not because you can bring up an additional 2 players on game day, but you need to send them right back down to the practice squad. So with the additions of Davis and Hodgins to our receiving room, who is the receiver that you see being cut? Starting off with you, Haith.
So I don't know about Davis. I didn't study a lot about Davis. I don't know how good he is.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of film about him in college. I don't know because he came from a small college, I think. Well,
so let me be clear. Like the receivers that like I think could be cut because of those draft acquisitions is Duke Williams, who I know that a shit ton of fans are about to be pissed off at me about saying this.
Yeah.
Isaiah McKenzie. Those are really the 2 that are question marks right now. Like, what's going to happen? So, I mean, who do you think are the Bills going to part ways with?
I think instead of McKenzie, I'll go with Foster, maybe.
Foster.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I forget about him. Like last year, I forgot he was on the team for the longest damn time because we never used him. Arian?
Exactly. Yeah. McKenzie did well. McKenzie did well.
Yeah, dude. Like his jet routes are dirty.
Yeah, jet routes. Yeah, that's all.
Like I mean, like that's all he does.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah.
So what about you, Anthony?
There's something special when we were watching like the Jets game, and Duke Williams was out there. That wasn't last year. It was the year before that. Or was it last year? And Duke Williams went off, and every single time he touched the ball, like the whole entire stadium was just Duke. And I love that.
You're thinking about the Tennessee game, but I definitely remember that.
Was it Tennessee?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was I thinking of? Oh, it was like I was just thinking recently. I was talking to someone, Matt Barkley, and he went off against the Jets. Anyways,
that was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. So, and that was it was amazing. But I just think the guy, he reminds me a lot of like Dawson Knox, but like plays less. Like he drops the ball too much. Like I don't think I can trust him enough.
Oh yeah. Dude,
So I
exactly.
would say that'd be my bet.
Like,
I
yo,
actually think the only reason we drafted Gabe Davis because we're gonna cut Duke Williams.
yeah,
Equally.
exactly, dude. Like, I mean, like, nothing haunts me more than that one route that Duke ran in the wild card game.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I know that was a 50-50 ball, but, like, that's why we brought him on the team in the first
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Be like that, like, physical receiver who can come up with that shit. If he were to come up with that ball, like, that wild card game would have been an entire different story. So my theory behind the entire thing, like before I got into the draft, I was just like, all right, depending on what type of receiver that we pick up in the draft, say that we get like a tall physical receiver like Gabe Davis, then Duke Williams is in trouble. But say that we went with like more of like a like small fast receiver, like I don't know, like a Denzel Mims or something like that. He ended up going to the Jets, I believe. Then I believe in turn Foster / McKenzie would be in trouble. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what the final wide receiver room is this year. But, I mean, we'll move on. So, all right. So, my breakout player of the year, y'all probably have heard me say this before, maybe, but Josh Norman. That's right, right? People are like, fuck you mean, dude? He's trash. As soon as when he went over to Washington Redskins, got the bag, he just threw away his talent like it was nothing, right? And really when it came down to it, dude, like I preach about this on a regular basis. Due to the current world that we live in, we were bringing in players that fit our scheme because our head coach, our front office realized that there's a possibility that we might not be able to have an entire offseason. So bringing in players that fit our scheme, that are familiar with a similar type scheme like we play, that's only going to benefit us just because. And well, let me digress from that. But the reason that I think that Josh Norman is going to revive his career this year and be a cornerback too, a CB2, right on the depth chart, is the fact that the Washington Redskins did not use that man appropriately whatsoever. Like, they ruined that man's career. He did not ruin his own career.
True.
Now you're looking at the fact that he's coming back to a system, a defense that is almost a carbon copy and is identical to the same scheme that McDermott ran in Carolina in 2015. And Norman is a very strong zone cornerback. And the fact that he's going to a large zone defense when it comes to our secondary, he's absolutely going to blow up. And in my opinion, I think that he's going to be even in the conversation for comeback player of the year.
And I think that makes sense to me. Sorry. Yeah, I think that makes sense, because you said, Washington didn't use him right. And also, you're only as good as the people you play with, right? And Washington has not been very good for the last couple of years. And what better place to bring him onto a roster that's, defense is just spectacular.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I don't know. He needs to prove himself.
Okay.
He needs to prove himself.
Okay, so Hafe's not sold.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hafe's not sold yet.
So
Okay.
if he doesn't prove himself, it's Levi Wallace, I think. I don't think Josh Norman will find his place in the team. Maybe. You never know.
Okay, hey, listen, you know what? Like, that's definitely very interesting. And I will definitely be curious to see what's going on. That's for sure. But yeah, guys, once again, thank you so much for coming on today. It was definitely a pleasure to talk Bills. Once again, guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel on Patreon. You have no idea how much that helps on my channel. It helps me make better content for you guys too. So, I mean, thank you so much. Besides that, Down Mafia, thank you so much for tuning in. Say that you want to support the channel. That link is in the description. If not, the best possible way to support this channel is simply by smashing the fuck out of that like button. If not, then do you. Besides that, guys, thank you again. And above all else, let's
wait.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Let's do it together.
You're right.
Oh, yes.
All right, ready? Yeah. And above all else, let's go Buffalo. We'll work on it.
Yes.